everyone, today I'll be talking about the importance of food in culture, but I will also be talking about the different aspects of culture and how they were formed. So let's start with what is culture. Well, culture is basically just the way a group of people act in a community. The community could be like a small village to an entire country or to an entire continent, because most groups of people that have similar things to them, like maybe similar land masses, will have similar cultures too. Like for example, the ASEAN countries, the Southeast Asian countries, we all sort of share a similar culture, and we've all branched out to our own things, but the root culture is still the same. So what are the different aspects of culture? Culture is everything that people do. It's the way they act, the way they speak, and the different aspects include many things like behavior, stories, clothing, and especially food. Today I'll be talking about food. So food is a very important aspect of culture because first of all, it's a basic human necessity. And different cuisines around the world are formed by many different ways because of the country's climate, the country's stories, or the country's animals. So first, let's start with climate. If a country is hot and humid, like the Southeast Asian countries, we will tend to hunt animals that survive in hot and humid environments, like chickens and cows and pigs. But other countries can survive off of other animals, like for example, how Asian countries don't consume turkey because we don't have turkey here, but European countries or the Western countries consume turkey as a Thanksgiving feast. That will lead to our stories. Country's cuisine can be formed by different stories and different religions and beliefs in that country. That country can have different religions, different beliefs. Like for example, how some countries don't consume pork, or they don't consume lamb meat, or they don't consume steak meat and stuff like that, because they have their beliefs. They believe in, let's say, a pig might be one of their gods, just as an example. So they don't want to consume pork meat. That is how stories relate to country's cuisine. There are also other ways, like maybe for example, they consider a certain type of meat to be holy or expensive. Then that meat would be consumed all over the country. Now I'll be talking about animals. Like I mentioned, the climate affects the different animals in that country. So let's say if the country has very little animals available and they either consume insects, that would be the main cuisine of the country. If that country has like chickens as their prominent figure, chickens will be the thing they consume the most. Now I'll be talking about how different aspects of culture form. So first of all, clothing. Clothing is also a very essential human need because clothing covers up the human body, and it also displays stories and how about the country's culture and traditions. So every single country have their own special culture and special traditions, and that also branches out to clothing and food and stuff like that. These clothing and food will have different types. So for clothing, it can be inspired by the country's like traditions. Like for example, Cambodia's clothing is like the apsara, the one with like the golden crown and the fabric around. These clothing can be also inspired by the past. Like let's say for example, people in the past used to wrap themselves with leaves around, and then they evolved into using fabric. So those fabric would be shaped into the leaves that wrapped around the body, and different types of stories and different types of things that happened in the past will evolve to things that happen now. Next is stories. By stories, I also mean religion and things that are passed down through generation to generation. These things are formed in the past, and every single country has their own religion. Even if they share a religion with a different country, that religion will also will have its own versions, its own branches. But also every country has a different story to them, like their origin story or something. thing. Like Cambodia was born by dragons. I won't be telling the full story, but that's and the next is language. Language can be evolved by many different things in that country. Like for example, the climate can also affect the language, because different climates will make people speak in a different way. Their mouths stutter if it's cold, and their mouths are rapid when it's hot. So different climates will lead to different languages being formed, and different religions will also lead to different languages being formed. Scientists aren't sure which came first. It's most likely religion that came after, but it's like the egg and the chicken. Nobody knows which came first. And that is the end of my presentation. If you have questions, you can ask me.
Okay, your topic is food related to culture.
Yes.
But I say
But also,
not much about the food.
yes, different aspects of culture too.
We should focus more about the food we call the Thai food. Thai it's in the title of your topic. It's in focus more about food, but when you present it, just a little, it's in nothing much about the food. Okay, so culture can affect from one country to one country or not?
Yes, I mentioned that.
Is it good or not that one culture can flow from one country to another country?
Yes, it's a good thing to take inspiration. Inspiration is never a bad thing. Every country, not even country, every single human being, every single species take inspiration from one another. Even nature takes inspiration from other things. Like for example, different animals evolve to different attributes when they see like other animals have that. So like that's why most animals have similar features, like they walk on four legs and stuff. That's taking inspiration.
What the difference between inspiration and copy?
Copying is taking it exactly. Like if this person says 1 + 1 is 1, 1 + 1 is 2, you take it exactly and you say 1 + 1 is 2. You don't try to make your own twist to it, like why is 1 + 1 = 2. You just say it exactly like them. So you just take it from that country. You don't do anything else to it. You just take it and copy it and use it. While inspiration is like you take it and then you explain it, or you like build upon it.
Okay.
Thank you. Goodbye.